That's nice. That's real nice. I woke up this morning and it was real cold and thought to make a fire. And as I was making the fire, I was remembering this story that I heard a long time ago. I honestly don't remember who said it, who was part of the story, but I remember the thought behind it. And essentially what it was somebody asked, you got to be a Christian to go to church? Or I don't have to go to church to be a Christian. And the story goes that someone took a coal out of the fire and the coal disappeared, and it was kind of an analogy of that. But I was thinking of that this morning because this week has been really rough for me. These last month or so has been pretty rough. And I, prior to that, have been meeting with my best friend Josh for several months now, because he's the one that's helping me start Soteria and helping me get it off the ground. He has a great business mindset, and God really speaks to him in that arena. And I've been partnering with him, and he's been helping me out. And so we committed to each other that let's meet every Sunday night and get prepared for the week ahead of us. And so we did that for several weeks, and it was great. It was super good. We have a relationship that has been through a lot, and we are super vulnerable with each other. We're very real, we're very honest. We talk about everything, and I mean everything. So it's just always good that we were able to kind of get together on a weekly basis, talk about what we need to do for the week for Soteria, and it was great. So about a month ago, my family came to town, so we weren't able to meet. By the end of that week, I was pretty sick, so we didn't meet. Then I was still sick, and we didn't meet, excuse me, we didn't meet for almost a month until 2 days ago. And during that period of time of not meeting, man, I took a turn for the worst. I just got real grumpy. I started really kind of just believing these silly lies about, man, Soteria is never going to work, and nothing's going to happen, and it's going to fail, and who's going to want to be consulted by me, and I can't help it. Just all the woe is me type stuff, right? And I was in a dark place, man, kind of fighting with my wife, and the thoughts of, she looks at me wrong, and I'm like, we're getting a divorce. Those kind of emotions just come out of nowhere. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why they were there. I thought it was, it's just because I'm sick, and I'm sure that was part of it. But the cool thing was, as I finally was feeling better, and Josh and I decided to meet. And during our meeting, we just kind of talked about what's going on, kind of caught up. I was honest with him about my feelings, and just kind of like, man, I'm really struggling these last couple of weeks, don't know what's going on, and blah, 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 blah. But it was good to just kind of vent and talk to him. And, Josh is a man of wisdom. But what was interesting is he didn't really give me any advice. He didn't really give me any awesome words of knowledge, or it was just fellowship. And when I came home, I was a different person. I was fine again. I realized that all the lies that I was believing, and so it brought me back to this realization that, man, I was out of fellowship with my brother for just a few weeks, and how quickly the enemy could come in and start throwing those fiery darts, those little lies, and I began to believe them. And so I just remembered this analogy of the fire, and when I was, doing the close-ups of the coal that's inside the fire and how hot they are, these tiny little coals, how unbelievably hot they were. And even when I was just trying to go in with the shovel, like, it was burning my hand. Like, there's no way I could stick my hand in there and grab one of those coals and pull it out of the fire. And then taking the coal out and putting it on the ground here, and watching those coals within less than a minute burn out. And to me, that's such a good analogy of what relationship is. And if we kind of want to go deeper, it's kind of what the church is. And when I say the church, I don't mean the building. I don't even really mean a building of people. I mean the church, the bride of Christ. I mean people that are one with the Lord, who live life together, who are in communion together, who are one. And I would say that that is my relationship with Josh. It doesn't have to be a congregation of people. Church to me is sometimes just two believers getting together and encountering the Lord. So for me, looking in that fire and seeing that hot coal, that reminds me of what the church is, of what my relationship is with my best friend, what my relationship is with my wife. When those relationships are on fire, right? They're untouchable. The enemy can't put his hand in to torment, to torture, to throw those fiery darts, to embed those tiny little lies that just make us go crazy, right? Just like I couldn't stick my hand in to get out a coal, the enemy can't do it either when we are functioning as one body, and a body under the foundation of the lordship of Jesus Christ. But what's interesting is when you are out of fellowship, when you're taken out of fellowship, whether it's by sickness or whatever circumstances is, or sometimes by choice, like, I don't want to be part of that church anymore, or I don't need to be, go to church to be a Christian. How interesting it was that when I took out those coals, it took no time at all for them to burn out, and not only burn out, but I could touch them, and how amazing it was that I could crush them. And that to me was significant when I was doing that. I didn't think about that before, but as I was kind of touching those little coals and I began to feel them and realized that they're not hot at all, that they were cool to the touch, and how I could crush them, and then I smushed them. That to me was such a great analogy of what it's like when you're taken out of fellowship with your people, with your family, with the people that God has placed in your life for a purpose. How quickly that your flame burns out, and how quickly the enemy is able to crush you. I experienced that in this last month, that I was taken out of fellowship with my best friend, and within a few weeks, the enemy crushed me. But what's amazing is you stick those coals right back in the fire, and bam, they're fired right back up. So there's such a good analogy about that. And so my question to you is, do you have fellowship? And again, I'm not necessarily talking about, are you part of a Bible study at church, or do you go to church, or all those things, because there are many, many people that go to church or go to a Bible study that don't have true fellowship. What I'm talking about is a friend or a wife or a husband that you can be intimate with. You can tell them anything. You can talk about anything. You can pour out your life, and you can share your deepest, darkest secrets with, and know that they won't judge you. Know that they're not going to take those things and use them against you, but know that they will have compassion on you, that they will in turn be intimate with you and build that relationship. Do you have those relationships? And if not, how is that affecting your life? Have you been crushed by the enemy? And is it because you're lacking in that area? If you are in your life now and you're struggling with just getting to that next level with the Lord, or just you feel stagnant in your life, is this maybe one of the reasons why? So my challenge is if you don't have someone in your life like that, find someone. Really seek it out. But the crux of this issue is that you have to be vulnerable first. You have to be the one that's willing to lay it all out on the line and be willing to get hurt, because sometimes you might get hurt. It's guaranteed. But when you find that person that's willing to receive what you give and give back, there's just no better relationship other than your relationship with the Lord. So again, my encouragement to you today is ask yourself that. Do I have someone in my life that keeps me on fire, like just fire, so much so that when the enemy tries to reach his hand in, he cannot separate us. He cannot take me out of the fire and crush me. So ask yourself that this week. I hope this was eye-opening, and I hope that analogy kind of helped you understand what it's like to be in fellowship with not only the Lord, but with the people he's put in your life. And leave in the comments what other analogies you could come up with this. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Honestly, it really helps this channel. So thank you guys so much.